Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all in between and outside of that spectrum, welcome to this video. This is kind of a re-upload of a video I put out the other day, which I showed my support for the Black Lives Matter protests across the world. Spoke a little bit about what happened with the murder of George Floyd. I uploaded a video and I saw there were so many editing errors, so many clips of me stuttering and stumbling, and I thought, no, this deserves a cleaner cut than that. So I took it off, planning to re-edit it, and my laptop broke, so I'm re-recording this video right now on my phone, so the quality won't be as good. I also can't edit from my phone because I'm going to be uploading this directly to YouTube, so you will see me stumble and stutter, but you know, I just want to be authentic, so please bear with me, guys. First of all, again, I want to send massive support, love and solidarity to all of the protests going on around the world, and you've always got my love and support, and I'm going to be posting links within the description below on how other people can support you guys, whether it's donations, petitions. I'm going to post them all there because you guys went out there, and all the ones in America, you went out there and you made sure that they listened. Okay, I see a lot of annoying people moaning about stuff getting destroyed. Well, listen, buildings can be rebuilt, money can always be remade, but George Floyd can never be brought back. Okay, so don't weep for buildings; they do not cry out in pain. The buildings will be fine. The buildings will be rebuilt. These multi-million-pound companies have got insurance, so they'll be fine. Okay, but the most important thing is that results have been got. So the officer who murdered George Floyd, he is now, I think, being hopefully going to be sentenced or charged. But basically, they want to get him for second-degree murder, and the other cops are going to be charged as well. I think with like aiding and abetting. That's the right word. So hopefully these evil, disgusting men go to prison for decades upon decades upon decades, and even that is a lot less than these evil, racist men deserve. So I hope they get everything that's coming to them. Because it shouldn't be controversial to say, but racists deserve bad things to happen to them because they're racist. Racism is an absolute purge on this planet and has been for hundreds of years. And the fact that it is still alive, okay, and just as strong as ever, just shows how much more we have to do. And I'm talking about people who look like me. We need to dismantle the system that our ancestors built. Okay, so I know it's not. I don't know how much joy or peace of mind that would bring to George Floyd's family, but just know that he will not be forgotten, and what happened to him was a disgusting and very clear example of just how racist this society is and how much change is needed. Okay, because police brutality like that has been going on for a very long time. Okay, and it targets the black community statistically more than anybody else. Okay, all right, because the black community makes up not a very big percentage of the population of America or the UK, but they make up. But they're how many times more likely to be stopped by the police, to be sent to prison. I don't have all the statistics here right now, but the numbers are disgustingly shocking. Okay, so sending all my love to George Floyd's family. I'm going to be putting a bunch of links below for petitions, places to donate, so please go out there and please go and do that to support him and his family. Now, on to Breonna Taylor, who was a young lady who was murdered again by cops. Okay, this is a very serious problem that keeps on happening and keeps on happening, excuse me, to black people in America, and we have to say it. Okay, I'm gonna get to what I call empty performative actions that I've seen a lot of companies do that are completely empty, very vague, and very easy, that are not tackling the issue in hand. But back to Breonna, she was murdered, again, trigger warning, this is very graphic, she was murdered in her house while she slept. She was shot 8 or 9 times. How evil do you have to be to shoot somebody who is sleeping 9 times? Okay, we all have the privilege, people especially look like me, all have the privilege of going to sleep tonight without fear of being shot while we sleep by cops. Okay, and the men who did this, the evil men who did this, they are still free men, and they need to be brought to justice. Okay, make sure we do not stop saying her name. I'm going to put a link again to all of this in the description below. It will say everything clearer than I ever can. I'm stumbling, you have to excuse me, I'm on the autistic spectrum. My brain is a million miles ahead of my voice, so please forgive me for that. What I want to talk about now is what I've seen in the past few weeks, because now, which is good, a lot of companies now are now under pressure to do right finally by the black community, and it's ridiculous that it's taken this for these companies to fix up. And a lot of them are doing very empty gestures, just posting blank screens, but they're not doing anything within their company to tackle the microaggressions that their black employees face, or the payment gaps, not doing anything to tackle that. They're just putting a picture because it's free, it's easy, and it's calm. A lot of them are so generic that it will not risk annoying their racist fan bases, okay? But on the other hand, you've got companies like Ben & Jerry's who are listing the issues. They are saying we need to dismantle white supremacy. They're saying we need to tackle police brutality, and we need to, okay? Because all I'm seeing is video after video after video of big, thuggish people, mostly men, big, thuggish men, grappling with people, slamming them to the ground, assaulting people. That's what it is. It is assault. Because if anybody who wasn't a cop did that to a random person who didn't like the way he was looking at them, went up and started strangling them, they get done for assault, as they should. But these people are allowed to get away with it, okay? I'm seeing them covering their badges so that they can't be identified for the quite literal crimes they are committing. And can you imagine the feeling of defeat when you see these people committing these horrific crimes against other human beings? Who are you meant to call? Like, who do you call when the people that we're taught and brought up to call when something bad happens like this, when they're the ones doing the crimes? Okay, and so what we need to do, and I'm saying this to people who look like me specifically, it is down to us to dismantle white supremacy, because it was our ancestors who built it up, okay? It is not down to the black community to end racism, okay? Right? They didn't invent racism, we did, okay? And we continually benefit from it. And people who say nonsense like all lives matter, but the fact of the matter is, clearly that's a lie. Okay, because clearly in the eyes of the societies we're living, especially in the West, in America, and here in the UK, clearly all lives do not matter. Because when you have people, black people butchered and killed by law enforcement, by white supremacists, by Nazis, all of whom, by the way, are able to march the streets freely without being put in a chokehold. Nazis. And I'm not even, they wear the swastikas. These are actual living Nazis that are allowed to march freely. Okay, this is not the stuff of war. This is not the stuff of some alternate history dystopian drama. No, this is the reality. That as a Nazi, you are far less likely to be put in a chokehold and die than you are just a black person. Because I can't remember the last time I've seen a white supremacist, a Nazi, get beaten up by the cops. I can't remember the last time. I've never seen a video of that happening, okay? And I've never seen, all I've seen is videos of them marching freely, waving their swastikas around freely. And they do so without fear, because they've got nothing to fear, because I've never seen any videos of them being beaten up, okay? Notice the video of them being ganged up on by 10 cops, okay? So, see, again, I go off into tangents, you have to excuse me. But these things are allowed to happen, okay? These things are allowed to happen. So, yes, back to what I was saying. So, clearly, all lives don't matter. Because why is it that when this happens to a black person, everybody jumps up to defend the cop? I've seen politicians jump up to defend it, and I've seen so many people who take too much of a grey stance. They say, oh yes, this was wrong, but there's no but. It was wrong, it was plain evil, and it was wrong. You can't say, oh, this is but oh, we shouldn't be rioting. What do you expect? Do you expect people to not be angry that a member of their community was murdered? Okay, and you have the cheek to try and let these people off the hook, the people who committed this horrific act. Okay? These are the sort of things that are continually to let happen. Okay? If all lives matter, how come when people from the Middle East are drowning in the Mediterranean, okay, on rafts, when European countries are telling gunboats to fire upon them, do their lives not matter? Okay? So clearly, all lives don't matter to you because you're not talking about them, are you? No, you're not. You're not talking about the countless numbers of the members of the people within the LGBTQ community who, again, suffer horrific prejudice, who suffer attacks, homophobic attacks all the time. You don't say anything about that, do you? No, you don't. Okay? When you support international wars, do the lives of the people that you're killing up in other countries in the Middle East, do their lives not matter? Well, clearly they don't matter to you. Okay, so you say it and you say and you sound hypocritical because clearly you don't believe all lives matter. So why are you saying it? You only say it because you want to divert attention from the real problem. That is that black people are systematically oppressed by a system built on white supremacy. It's quite simple as that. Okay, if a house is on fire and another house isn't, you don't put water hoses on both houses. You wouldn't go up to a person and say, sorry, all houses matter, would you? No, you wouldn't. Okay, do you get medicine when you're not sick? No, you don't. Because stop saying that, because it is so clear. It was like when people went out for try to do a straight pride parade. What kind of nonsense is that? Where are you oppressed for being straight? Nowhere. Or I've seen nonsense like when people described the United Kingdom should have an independence. Someone said, where's the United Kingdom's Independence Day? And I'm just like, all the countries that celebrate Independence Day, who? Most of them are celebrating independence from whom? This country here, okay? Again, tangent, you'll have to forgive me. I go off on them sometimes. But we, as a white community, need to do more. And we need to do stuff that makes us uncomfortable. Because you know what? If it's easy and it's comfortable, we're probably not doing enough. Okay? The whole point is that it's going to feel uncomfortable because that's how the other communities feel. Okay? The issue is that we are too comfortable. Okay? That's why, because we're comfortable posting, let's say, a blank screen, like it was on Blackout Tuesday. Okay? We're comfortable saying, oh, racism is bad, because that's easy. It's a lot harder to say, okay, we need to tackle police brutality. We need to tackle these issues from the ground up. It's much more difficult to say that, isn't it? Because you might upset some people. All right? Saying you want to dissolve white supremacy. Again, people don't want to hear that. It's easy to post a quote from Martin Luther King. And by the way, Martin Luther King says, by the way, riots are the language of the unheard. I hope I'm quoting that correct. But nobody wants to quote him on that. Okay, I'm very angry with people like me who will use Martin Luther King to try and pacify the black community. Okay, because guess what? If it wasn't for evil racists, people could ask him himself what to do. Okay, and he was. Please do not forget that he was killed. Okay, because of what he stood for. Okay, so what needs to be done now is we have to be steadfast and we have to make a change, because otherwise nothing will. Unless we as a whole feel for other people who look different than us, who love different than us, who are different from us for what we want for ourselves, nothing will change. The power is with us. We are the ones who the system benefits, so it's down to us to dismantle it. And that is something that we need to do. So if you can, go out there and protest. If you're just like home, like me, I would have gone to the protests, by the way, this week. Unfortunately, I live with someone who is extremely vulnerable, and I'm seldom meant to leave the house due to the risk to them. Otherwise, I'll be right out there with you guys. So I'm having to show my support from home, which I hate, and I have to admit, I feel like, I feel like that's not me on right now. That's not enough coming from me. So that's why I'm trying to do everything I can. I'm trying to raise awareness. I'm trying to raise money. But again, I need to do more. Okay, I know for a fact as a person who benefits from white privilege. You know, I'm mixed heritage. But again, look at me. Okay, I benefit from white privilege. So as a white passing, so I know I need to do more, and I intend to do more, and I want everybody to make the pledge to do more. Okay, and to continue to do more, because a lot of the time we will talk about someone who's been murdered by the cops, and then the momentum goes. It cannot go. We need to keep saying their names, because there are countless more people like George Floyd, like Breonna Taylor, who are murdered at the hands of law enforcement. Okay, so please, we cannot stop speaking. If we stop speaking, then the bad people win. Okay, as they have done countless times. All right. I've seen a video of the mayor of Minneapolis, I believe it was. This is just a recent one. I'm going to try and post the link to that in the description as well. When he was asked very clearly, do you believe in defunding, will you commit to defunding the police, to abolish the police? Because they said quite clear as a community, they said they don't want them there. Okay, and he says, even in front of a crowd of all the people he's meant to represent, he said no. And they booed him away, as they should. And he had a walk of shame like you wouldn't believe. To have the gall to stand there in front of the people of your city and to deny them the one thing they're asking you. That is not leadership material. Far from it. Just today, and we've had Black Lives Matter protests across the UK. Now here's another thing. While these protests are, of course, remembering George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and the countless numbers of people who have died at the hands of racism in America, they are also speaking about the black people who have died at the hands of racism here in the UK. And it is just as bad. And I feel like a lot of people are under the impression that racism isn't as bad here. I mean, I don't even have to go into the United Kingdom's history, okay, or what every Commonwealth country has in common. No. We don't, like, it's the idea that this country is somehow free from racism, or seeing some people say there have been YouGov polls, how racist is this country? The fact of the matter is, look who this country selected to represent us to the world. That should prove how serious racism is in this country. But a lot of what the protests are for in this country at the moment are for Belly Mujinga. I hope I'm pronouncing her beautiful name correctly. She was a TFL worker who was spat at whilst on the job, and Shukri Abdi, who was a young black girl, who was murdered, and her case was just dropped. And again, she was found in the official the official statement was that she jumped in the water because it was a hot day. Do you not understand why people are so infuriated? What kind of bollocks is that? Who on earth would believe that? It's ridiculous. And this is what the black community have to sit there and see all the time. Our members of the community who are obviously the victims of racism, the victims of a racist system, again, denied justice. Belly Mujinga, her case was dropped. Okay? Yet all I'm seeing is examples of people who spat at cops being arrested. And also she died, by the way, Belly Mujinga. I forgot to mention, she died from the coronavirus. Okay? From the person spitting on her. They're trying to work out, but it's, she seemed to be healthy, and then somebody spat at her, and then she caught it. Okay? And again, she has not received justice. Shukri has not received justice. These marches are for them as well. John Boyega did an incredible speech at Hyde Park the other day, and shout out to him. Big fan of his work, and a big fan of what he says. And what he says is what people need to hear. And this country has got a history of racism, and it is present ever now as well. So, for them, people are marching as well. I'm going to put, again, there's going to be petitions, fundraising in the comments. Please go and do that if you can. If you're healthy and you're able to, please go out there and protest. If you're stuck at home like me, then please share what you can. Please call on your employers to make sure that racism is dealt with. Please donate what you can, please, because already the way I see the world right now is how I look into history and see You think to yourself, how could everybody, with the rise of Nazi Germany, you think to yourself, how did people just stand by and watch that happen? Okay? Or when you even look into the history of slavery itself, you think to yourself, how do people stand by and watch it happen? It's because the issue, you see, a lot of us are raised with the belief that white supremacy and racism is only upheld by the Donald Trumps and the Boris Johnsons in the world and enforced by neo-Nazis and fascists just marching everywhere. But it's enforced by the people who don't do anything. It is enforced by the people who look like me, who just stand by and let bad things happen. Okay? It is us. It is on us, because if you are a bystander, if you are neutral in this, then you side with the oppressor. Okay? Just who you side with. You cannot say, oh, I don't get involved in politics. Even saying you don't get involved in politics is a privilege in itself, because as a white person, if you are a rich, wealthy white person, you can live out your entire life without politics ever affecting you. So please, I'm calling out and speaking to the white community across the world, especially in the UK, please, okay? Especially if you're working class like me, you have a lot more in common with your black neighbour than you ever will with people who run the country, who go out fox hunting, okay? So please, and honestly, I've seen lots of videos of older people as well who have been protesting decades, who are out in the protests, and much love to them. Every time we stand by and let this stuff happen, we let those people down, okay? We have to make a change. We have to be the change, and do not weep for buildings, okay? Because guess what? Change happened. The officers are now hopefully now being charged, okay? And guess what? That one man's life, George Floyd, is worth is worth 1 billion buildings, okay? For 1 trillion buildings, okay? One man's life is worth every inanimate object on this planet. Okay, so please don't weep for buildings, don't weep for statues, don't weep for this, don't weep for messy streets. Weep for human beings, okay, who are constantly the victims of racism, and people will be angry and have every right to be. Do not sit there and dictate how they should be feeling, okay? Especially not when as a whole, when the United Kingdom's government is angry with another country, look what they do to said country, okay? Look what they do to countries they don't like, okay? So you don't get to stand there and dictate how the black community fights back against racism, police brutality and white supremacy while we sit here in a country with hundreds of years, violent years of colonialism taking over the world, attacking countries, taking over countries that it saw as less than, that it was angry with. You don't get to dictate how other people express their anger, okay? Because it is justified and always will be. And I want to speak a little bit about the protests now that's happening in the UK. I saw a video from Birmingham where they pulled down the statue of a slave owner. One question I have, why the hell was there a statue to a slave owner there in the first place? Pull that shit down, and they did. They pulled that shit down and they pushed it into the water. Okay, this man, I didn't catch his name, but I'm gonna try and put the links to the videos in the description. You've really put a statue of a slave owner just right there standing there, and just you immortalizing an evil man. No. Here's the rule. If you bought and sold human beings, you don't get a statue, okay? That's the thing, we don't learn about these people. I learned about, again, another sidetrack, a man called King Leopold of Belgium. And he's got hundreds of statues in Belgium. The man murdered 15 million Congolese people. Okay, he has got a body count akin to Hitler. Okay, and he should be remembered just like that, as an evil, evil man who should not have statues of him looking all proud on a horse. So big shout out to, it was Bristol. Did I mention it was Bristol? If I said it was Birmingham, I do apologise. It was in Bristol that the statue of this racist slave owner was pulled down and thrown into the water. I'm already seeing politicians condemning that. You really, you can't read the room, can you? You really can't. You're mourning the loss of the statue of a slave owner, and it's pathetic, it's racist, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. And everybody, please remember this when you go and vote next time. But what can we do? And I'm not going to shame people for not voting, because a lot of the time, especially now, sometimes you'll see, you will feel disconnected from politics, because you will literally look at politicians and think that they don't speak for you. And any politician that mourns the loss of a statue of a slave owner, no, it's pathetic. This video is very long, by the way. I realise that it's 25 minutes. This is what it's like when it's uncut. But so again, last points. We have to make sure that we do not forget these people's names, and there is more names than even the ones I mentioned. Okay. I'm going to put a link to a thread of, I think, 250 videos on Twitter of police brutality in the past week. That is just in the past week, and they are terrifying. Just how much power these people have to hurt people, and something needs to be done about it, and something needs to be done about it quickly. To the white community, people who look like me, we need to use our privilege, and we need to do it past the point where we feel uncomfortable. We need to keep on going and do not stop going. Make sure you push your employers, make sure you push your family, keep going, please do not stop. Okay? To the amazing black community, my love and solidarity is with you always. I hope I got this video right. If I got anything wrong, please feel free to tell me. Everybody, don't stop fighting no matter what until things are right, because we will never live in a just and equal world until we dismantle white supremacy. It's quite simple, and at the moment it's very powerful, so we need to fight hard. Okay? And I'm sending out my love to everybody out there. Please watch over your mental health, watch over the people you love. It's a very scary time also. When you go out to the protests, make sure you're safe, make sure you stick together, and also don't let this country try and shame you or blame you for any second wave of the virus, especially in the UK, because a few weeks ago we had people doing the conga lines for VE Day and populating the beaches in their thousands. So do not let them say anything against you. Go out there, protest, stay safe. Make sure you've got your PPE. Make sure you got your gloves and your mask and all that stuff. If you've taken photos, make sure you be careful of protesters' faces, because all the protesters in America and in the UK are being harassed again for simply protesting for equal rights for people. So please just be careful out there, and I want to try and end on a positive note. It's very difficult. I will say change is happening. You achieved this amazing thing for George Floyd, and that cost a lot of people's, they went out there, they got shot in the face with rubber bullets, they got, and even some of the protests died for this. I hope that this is never forgotten, and I hope that George Floyd gets the justice that he deserves. And Breonna Taylor needs it as well. Belly needs it, and Shukri needs it. Okay, we cannot let them down. Okay, because we have let so many people down. Okay, and it needs to stop. This video is coming up to half an hour long. Guys, please check out all the links I'm going to post in the description below. Please go and check those out. Please donate. Please go and protest. Please go and do everything within your power. And don't stop. Okay? Never stop. Alright guys. Better days will come, but they will only come if we put things right now. Okay, so to the days below the horizon, guys, please keep fighting, keep being amazing. I love every single one of you, and I hope one day we get to smile at a better world. Okay? Keep being amazing. Take care. I love you all.